And welcome back. Here we are again, just enjoying a bit of fishing. Just need to take my mind off of things. There's a new recipe I wanted to try, but we are going to have to catch a little bit of dinner first. Hope things are going well with you. I must admit, I'm starting to look forward to these little sessions more and more. Yeah, it's just a moment to take my mind off of everything and just relax. Not that my life is super stressful, but I suppose we all define our own stresses in a way, don't we? Something big is coming to an end pretty soon for me. Nothing like serious, not like medical issues or anything like that. It's just a sort of thing I've been doing with my friends for a good 5 or 6 years now. But it's getting to that point where we're doing it. People are going on with their lives. Like we all have to, quote unquote, grow up at some point. Not that it's the end of our friend group or anything like that. It's just, times change, so must I. But enough doom and gloom. Once we're done here, I do have a couple of things I want to share with you. Obviously, there's time passes between these sessions, and sometimes I just get to enjoy playing the game. Not everything needs to be recorded or anything like that. Because I think the problem is that if I start thinking about recording every single thing that I do, then that's all I'm going to think about, rather than enjoying playing this game, playing in this world. And that's sort of what's going to probably keep the passion of seeing what's going to happen here alive. Like, I have like ideas of different buildings and everything like that, and stuff I want to work on. And with 5, I think that's going to be enough. So obviously, back here at the docks once again, we'll put our fishing rod away. I've decided to just keep it here. Obviously, we had a bit of extra fish already, but there's nothing wrong with enjoying ourselves. Well, it's handy to know that if we ever need bone meal, we can get it from cutting up fish as well, which makes sense. I think we can also get it from cutting up chicken, but that doesn't really happen all that often. So the first thing I wanted to share with you was obviously this building here. After our recent cooking adventure with the pumpkins, obviously we were running a bit low, so I decided I would make something of a patch here. It was a fun building to make. Using leaves. I don't know if the texture pack makes it better, or sorry, not the texture pack. The shaders make it better or worse. Obviously the leaves move. I think it would probably look really pretty at night. Just sort of like the pale amber lights of the lanterns illuminating the place. Slight problem is though that we're not very close to it, so it doesn't do a lot of growing when we're not here. But then again, that's not the worst thing in the world. Pumpkins on one side, melons on the other. Actually, we did just get a little bit of bone meal for cutting up those fish. Maybe we'll give the melon patch a bit of a helping hand. See, we're still 1 melon shy, but I'm sure that will change soon enough. A couple of barrels here for us to keep our harvests in. I mean, yeah, stone axe, stone hoe. We put the melons up in that one. It might be nice getting like a silk touch axe at some stage so we can pick up the whole melon if you want to sort of decorate anywhere with that. It is a very pretty block. I know. I think melons, it's going to sound silly, but one of my most fond blocks in this game are melons, because I remember probably the first time I really had that fire in me to play this game was just after the potions came out. Like, I've been playing for years beforehand and stuff like that, but something about, you know, setting up a melon farm to make the glistening melons, to just brew as many potions as you could at once. That was just really enjoyable. I'd play on like survival servers with friends, and you'd be the alchemist, so if anyone needed potions, then you'd set up like netherwort farms. And just back with those like bucket plugins where you could have like jobs, so you could be like more efficient alchemists. Memories like that. Very fun. I mean, but then again, I'm having a great time doing all this. I really like how it's coming along so far. Oh, shocker again. I lost my train of thought. This was the first thing I wanted to show you. Second thing I wanted to show you is over here. I'm not sure if you can spot it. There's a little smoke rising in the distance. Oh, 3 things. I made this bridge, and I'll be honest, it took a lot longer than I was expecting, and I really don't like it. But, you know, what you gonna do? I used some of those, the mangrove fences a while ago. Let's see. Panning over here, it was back during our escapades to find our first acacia trees that we stumbled into the mangrove groves. The mangroves are this very nice, like, pale grey textured wood. I remember it because we chopped a block and put it down, saw what it looked like. Yeah, so I just went out, got some of that. Didn't have any, you know, seafaring adventures. Fortunately, I suppose. You can see we've explored a little bit more of our world. Still a lot to see and do, I think. In fact, actually we'll get to that in a minute, but it is starting to get towards nightfall. Look at me, rambling the day away. In here is... well, obviously, we're starting to take a trek down the immersive engineering line. We have our work shed over there. We have our coke ovens over there. But the second, I suppose the second multi-block you really concern yourself with in immersive engineering is called the blast furnace. It is what you use to make iron into steel. And so I set it up in this little hut here. I wanted to sort of give it a little kiln, or like a place underground, to symbolize that this structure needs a great deal of heat. You know, so it's like oven underground. Obviously, crude blast furnace. Thankfully, we haven't had to go to the nether, because when we went out sailing that one time, we picked up some netherrack and some magma blocks, both which are important ingredients in the making of blast furnace. Obviously, the magma block is the center here, and the netherrack that we picked up allowed us to cook it into nether bricks. Again, sort of cutting out that trip to the nether is probably going to be good. And so I built this first, and then I realized it takes a long time, but thankfully all the steel is done now. Take out this slag as well. So I have 64 steel to work with. It's a slow process to make steel this way. Of course, like later down the line, you can get better blast furnaces. You can get like upgrades to make them cook faster, even like massive arc furnaces. That's not really our concern for the moment. Because I put on all that steel onto cook, that's what sort of got me onto building this bridge. So I just took way too long doing that, and then I went over and built that sort of pumpkin patch, as it were. So that took a good bit of time, but then of course I was too far away to load the crude furnace anyway, so it didn't really matter. Still had to end up waiting around, but thankfully I've found a few things to occupy my time. such a lovely sight out here. It just feels really nice to play this game in winter when it's cold and miserable outside. My favourite kind of weather. You know what? We'll do a little bit of cooking before bed. I believe I'd already put on some tomato sauce. So what we're going to be making today is some fish stew, which I'm fairly certain is a rather simple and hearty dish. I don't actually... I do a bunch of cooking with seafood, but not in the way of like, fish stews. I don't think I've ever made one before. Like you do smoked salmon, crispy pan-fried barramundi, seafood curries, like stuff like that, but never like a proper fish stew. I don't know if it's something I want to make. I need the right occasion and motivation. It's much like this world, I suppose. You need like the right idea and motivation to cook something. But given that personally I'm not the biggest fan of seafood myself, I never really have that drive to cook with it or anything like that. So there we go. Raw cod, tomato sauce for a base, and some onions. And there we have it. The first fish stew. And we're getting our bowls back from making the tomato sauce. Well, that can be something we try out tomorrow. Have to leave this to cook for now. I think though it might be time to assess the situation on our iron reserves. As you can see, our days of battling and adventuring have sort of taken a bit of a toll on our armor. Again, it's not the strongest armor in the world, and I don't really want to use the steel or anything just to make armor. It does take quite a while to make, and we've done a bit of work to get it up and running. So we'll probably save the steel for any of our immersive engineering ideas. But it might be worth going on a little bit of a walk around to see if we can dig up some more resources. Get up for a little bit of an adventure. The rest of our stew is done. That should keep us well fed on our escapades. We are going to need to also probably keep an eye out for a bit of coal. It is making me want to get more and more onto sorting out that enchanting. Obviously we've got a good chunk of levels, touch wood, to spend at the moment. I wonder, it might be worth just putting down a little crafting area, so a little enchanting area for the moment, that we can always move later on, but just so we can actually get a couple levels onto our, probably onto our picks before we go down. A bit of fortune might help us get a bit more coal out of our romping around. We have a few diamonds to spare, and I think maybe an upgrade or 3. So I want pickaxe, a sword, and an axe. I'm sure you've noticed I do prefer that axe as we're running around. The real question is, do we have any obsidian? Looks like the answer is no, but we do have buckets. I suppose that's good enough. Grab some water from the garden. There she go. Lovely little garden. Alright. We'll put some iron on, go down, get some obsidian, and as the iron is cooking away, we can set up a little bit of an enchanting spot. We also need to get onto a farm for those fellas someday. It's just very, very noisy here. There's our coal. Wonder. We have a bit of iron here. Keep this in reserve if anything goes wrong, but 2 stacks. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but you go through it pretty quickly with the immersive engineering stuff. We do have to get onto that a little bit later as well. Obviously, this is how I always do my furnaces. Put on 8 at a time, rather than leaving 1 to cook for a great deal of time. Well, I'm just curious, like, how do you go about it? Obviously, I set up quite a bit here for intense smelting sessions, but I mean, everyone has their own quirks and methods when playing this game. Huzzah. Diamond pickaxe. Diamond axe. Right. Down to the depths we go. From memory, there should certainly be, yeah, great bit of lava down here. And I just want to find somewhere where we won't fall in. Here's our first guest. We'll save our better weapons for the moment. Thankfully, it doesn't look like there's any lava underneath. Take a bit of a shortcut. This should hopefully knock out any obsidian mining for a little bit. Huzzah. And just for the sake of safety. What the? That doesn't feel right. Must be some misalignment going on. For the sake of fairness, we won't be helping ourselves to any of these. It's crystals. Pale like the blue moon's light. A little crude, but it'll sit here for the moment. Seems like we need some lapis to fuel this along. Good thing we've been picking up a bunch of it thus far. Efficiency? Seems as though this is a bit different than the typical enchanting setup. I think this is a result of the quark mod that we have. Yes. But there's no reason we still can't make use of it. Efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. That's not wonderful. What if we were to put our diamond sword in instead? Sharpness, sweeping edge, sharpness. Spend levels to make levels. Sharpness, sharpness, sweeping edge. So that can go in that. That can go there. A little bit of an improvement. Give the same treatment to our axe. Breaking, efficiency, and efficiency. Low level enchants. I do wish that these were a bit different. But beggars can't be choosers at this stage. We might as well see what we can squeeze out of this. Go. A little bit of fortune. I guess we'll just have our old axe be our mineral mining axe. And our new one can just be our carving a head axe. That did eat into our levels quite a bit. But maybe we'll pick up a few more on this next stage of our adventures. I think it's time for a snooze. And then in the morning we'll venture out to our workshop, drop off our steel and slag. And then there's a village I want to visit, just to the that direction. I'm not going to pretend to know which direction it is. Probably west. Yeah. We'll visit the village because there are some ruins nearby. I did see them previously on one of my runarounds, and I think maybe we can go and explore. Maybe that'll help us get a good bit of resources. Hmm. I think I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Our armor has been battered up a little bit. We don't exactly know what we're going to be facing now. I think we'll make a new set, leave the scrap at the furnace house, and then we'll set off. Sure everyone builds it like that these days. Boom, boom. There's that. I mean, maybe we can pair it up cheaply and smelt it down or something like that in the future. Put our iron in here. Let's double check our bags. Got some torches, got some wood, some sticks. It's always good to take sand on an adventure. And a bucket of water if we get into real trouble. Excuse me. Might be worth picking up some, I don't know, like sea cucumbers or something in the future. Look, we got lobsters. But like, you know, something to provide a little bit of light in the water. I think that'll make it look really nice. And again, we still need to get onto that like underwater equipment, so we could do a little exploring beneath the waves. Sounds a bit fun. Still haven't put anything in here just yet. But here we go. Draw the steel and the slag. I'm fairly certain that the slag can help us make bricks and concrete and stuff like that. You know, more decoration tools are always good. Let's get this fish stew in our bellies, and off we go. Much akin to the furnace problems we had, where the steel wasn't smelting just because we weren't close enough. Seems our crops over here are fairly stagnant. I think it's just too far away from much of anything. Maybe we'll run into a bunch of skeletons on this next little bit of our adventure and be able to speed things up a bit. Pretty sure I have been out this way before. I'm not sure if I showed it to you, but as you can see in the minimap, there are a bunch of chickens out here. I think this is where our first chickens came from. Came up here. Hello, Mr. Bear. We'll just be on our way. Okay, it's a nice little village here. Anyone open for business? Oh, sounds like something's going on. This must be a mason of some kind. Hello? That might not be such a bad deal. We often get a good chunk of clay, get some emeralds, not sure what we'll do with it. Sound. Anyway, over there, that's what I was talking about. Just by the swamps. I'm sure it was living in here at some stage. Well, there is some iron, but maybe we'll grab that on the way back. Bit haphazard. Actually, we should remember this. If we need more marble, this would be a good place to come. I've been building with marble a bit more. It's always a bit tricky to get our hands on. Let's have a look over here. It's a bit overgrown. At last, we can give up this life of crime. right, we've got our backpacks, so we'll be able to pick up plenty of goodies. Purple glazed terracotta. I think the silt is slowing us down. Oops, wrong pickaxe, but I'm sure there'd be something under there. Jeez. It must be the silt. Having to wade through. Dark oak. If there are saplings in here, that would be wonderful. Another little chest. It's a bit more like it. Plenty of fishing rods. Never can have too many. Really hoping we'll catch something with a good enchantment. I think that's still how it works in this version. The chests. That seems to be all the chests. That also does seem to be all that's here. I don't know, I was anticipating some entrance to some subterranean cave. Oh well, sometimes your imagination just runs off a little bit. Do a little scan of the map, see if there's anything else that's sticking out. There's another village over here. I don't know if we really need to visit another village. Nothing is jumping out at the moment. Oh, you know what? Might as well make use of this ravine here and grab up what's in there. I reckon we could take some of this back for our new friend, the stonemason. It's perilous. Suppose this is why we came here. We're backing out now. Oh, looks like cobweb down there. There must be something down there. Seems as though we've found ourselves quite the network. Let's just remember to keep our abilities in check. I think we've got this handy bucket of water. Definitely some kind of ruined structure down here. Let's keep our wits about us. Single flower. Actually, that's a better idea. Do need some replacement water. Does seem to be a little bit of a disconnect. So that doesn't feel right. This is beginning to feel more and more dangerous. Well, that can't be right. That just goes to nowhere. What is that? This isn't the first broken thing I've run into in this world. But again, it just looks like everything just ends. What? That doesn't even seem possible, does it? It was north, wasn't it? Not good. Let's swim away from that. Which is still in hot pursuit. The witch is still following us. This place is really starting to unsettle me a bit. I just can't find that sort of schism we found. I was looking for a way around, but we might just have to go back through these tracks. It wasn't this one, was it? This ends in the TNT, doesn't it? Yeah. Through this main line. Yeah, look. All just seems to end. What the? That looks like lava. And why that was... It's so dark. It's because we're so low? This doesn't feel like somewhere we should be. Better quit whilst you're ahead, right? I think we need to get out of here. Sweet fresh air. What are you doing, little fella? Well, it's safe to say we got a bit more than we bargained for. I think it's just best we head home. This rain is making it very easy to see. Definitely see those skeletons over there. Safety. Home sweet home. Oh. Home sweet home. It might be time to put our treasures away and then sleep out the storm. It's unsettling. Just coming back from that little adventure, I'm a little like, ooh. I could just hear doors banging. It's like, but I'm here alone, so that was pause for concern. Just trying to get a good chunk of copper, aren't we? Too much. In fact, it might be getting to the point where we start cooking up some copper, I reckon. 4 stacks should be good enough. I'll hold on to our iron for now as well. We'll put that over in the furnace house. Yeah, that was a pretty good haul. 7 diamonds. Not great, not terrible. 1 short of what we invested, but still got plenty of durability on our tools. I will say though, this does look, that sort of misty fog on the horizon does look pretty nice. Just seeing like the vague silhouettes of our house. I think it looks pretty neat. I think it's like the first time it's properly rained in this world as well. Ominous foretelling. Ooh. Settled him, didn't it? Wonder. No way. Blue lobster. Those are like super rare. We got enough for 6 stacks to be going at once. So maybe let's have a look what we got. Let's do 4 stacks of copper and 2 stacks of iron. The rest of our coal and our iron in here for later. We'll put away these fishing rods. Okay, we can fish ourselves silly over here. Actually, whilst that copper and iron is all cooking up, let's see if we can double back to that village and not go underground again. But maybe we can run into that mason, sell off some of this coal and sell off some of this clay and get some emeralds in return. Might be worth setting up some sort of rail network or other speedy mode of transport to get between between our base and this village. I think it'd be nice to have like a rail network running around, good excuse to build a station, just to help us sort of get around this world a little bit swifter. Yeah. It's you again. Hello, Zella. If I could trouble you for a moment of time. Ah. Go, if I'm not mistaken. Apprentice. No idea what that is. Sell some stone for some. What's that? Oh, a good bit of trading. What else we got on offer? Emeralds for bread. 26 potatoes for 1 emerald. That's a bit steep. Can't eat that. Just thinking about that void area we ran into again. Everything down there was a little bit strange. Maybe there is something down there. We just can't see it. Maybe we need something to help us detect anything down there. I think I might have an idea. I think we're going to need is some circuits. Not immersive engineering circuits, something different. I fear that whatever might be down there is a little beyond what immersive engineering can supply us with. Going to need something a little different. That looks like circuit paste to me. I'm just going to need some kind of power. Something outside anything immersive engineering can provide us with. Right kind of focus. Right kind of device. Battery on its own will do us no good. We're going to need a way to collect this energy and make use of it. Collector. The pilot. Must be detecting something in the air. We can't bring something like this with us. We need a way of being mobile with our detections. Now we have the pieces. We have to put them together. Exactly. This is what we need to understand any strange oddities we come across. Although it doesn't feel quite right yet. Better? I think we're charging it up. It's time to take this stuff down if we're not using it. Don't know what could happen if we just left it here, unsupervised. I'm thinking now that if we also come across anything that's barring our access, or if we need an instance of redstone power, we could do something like this. How about that? Which I believe only takes away a small portion of charge. We have to make sure to monitor that when we're out and about. Now that we have a tool to assist us going forward, we should probably shift our perspectives back onto what we were originally intending to do today. Which is start to put together some power for immersive engineering. For that, I think we're going to need something of a water wheel. But not until I go get some lunch. So, back again after a bit of lunch. Now it's time to turn our focus toward power generation within immersive engineering. I think the best and most clean way we can go about that is likely going to be through the use of water wheels. As we can see here, we can make this sort of big water wheel, which is why we need to get onto the steel, sort of going down that line. As we can see, we need a bunch of water wheel segments around a single steel point. The water wheels are not going to be too difficult to set up, I don't think. Thankfully, we have quite a decent amount of treated wood after all the stuff we've been doing, so it should be pretty easy to set up. Now, what I have been umming and ahhing about is where we want to put these water wheels. I was thinking just outside the house. Obviously, a water wheel needs flowing water in order to run. In order to spin, I should say. Initially, I thought, perhaps incorporate it, just down here, and it all flows down into this, this little channel and pond we set up. But then I thought, don't really know if the fish would appreciate that. But then I had a thought, perhaps we could use this almost like broken bit of terrain next to us, sort of this deep gully kind of thing. I was thinking we can bring up this side a bit, just like 4 or 5 blocks, I think. Sort of make this like a bit of a higher wall, and then the water wheels themselves can sort of be between here and that side. At the end of the water wheels, we're going to need something called a kinetic dynamo, which will help generate the power from the motion of the water wheel spinning. But then, we could also just fill this up with a bit of water as well. It'd be nice to have a crack at that again without messing it up, let's say. So we'll fill this up, put the water wheels along here, and then sort of build like a little like a platform or like a dam house type thing on top where we can connect all the power to. Um, that could be like our power generation station, perhaps up on top of this hill over here, and then from there we can worry about, wiring our power elsewhere. I think that once we've gotten this power generator up, we probably need to look into the more specialized machines, such as like a metal press, which would save us on making hammers and everything like that. And then once we've done that, we can make a crusher, because again, we are going through a bunch of our resources pretty quickly. But yeah, just thought I'd give you an idea of what I'll be planning to do in the morning. Yeah. We might as well build a couple of water wheels whilst we're over here and work through the night, actually. So I think that each kinetic dynamo can support 3 or maybe even 4 water wheels. This might be worth measuring, because I don't want it to be super long. I'm thinking maybe 2 kinetic dynamos in each side and then 8 water wheels between them. That way the actual, water wheel power generation part is only going to be about 10 blocks long. We don't want it to be super gaudy and or super unpleasant to look at. So we're probably going to need 8 bits of steel. We'll grab some iron and some copper, because we are going to have to make the kinetic dynamos themselves as well. Yeah, we can use our engineer's crafting bench for once. 8 water wheels requires 4 water wheel spokes each. 8 fours, 32 of them. Which I believe is going to take a stack's worth of sticks. And then it will take a stack and a half of treated wood to make all the spokes, so segments. Go 32 of those. Around that. 8 water wheels. Works out rather nicely. The next thing we are going to need is one of these. Kinetic dynamo. Again, it's the motion of the water wheel spinning that generates power out of this. We could also use it if we want to build a windmill in the future. I'm thinking maybe if we have like outposts out there in the world that only need a little bit of power generation, we could set up a windmill. Just need to figure out a design that looks nice, I suppose. But the main center block of our kinetic dynamo is going to be one of these, a copper coil block, which requires a point of iron surrounded by 8 of these copper wires, which requires copper wire, shock horror, which means we're going to have to make some copper plates and then cut them up with some wire snips. It's probably another reason we want to get onto that into those metal presses and stuff sooner rather than later, because right now we are using quite a bit of durable items in order to make copper plates and copper wires. And so doing the math, we're going to need 8 copper plates per kinetic dynamo, so that takes us up to 16. Because then all of these have to be cut into 16 pieces of wire. And then it is around, just going to need a couple more sticks. Go 16 of these low voltage wires, around 2 pieces of iron gives us 2 copper coil blocks. There we go, 2 kinetic dynamos. I suppose we can leave some stuff in here in the engineer's crafting table, which is pretty handy. Probably what it was intended to be. We have to head back to the house and pick up some dirt to begin filling that basin, and I think maybe we'll try and continue sort of the color palette, let's say, of the house that we're using. So I'll get some marble, some spruce, and maybe a bit of basalt, or deep slate is what it's called. think it might be time to demonstrate another feature of our new creation. Ow. What? Oh. I'm not sure if that was as impressive as I was hoping. But our screwdriver here does have the ability to disassemble these skeletons. Makes it a bit easier. We should hopefully have enough spruce wood to finish off our next project. But I thought I'd just pop over real quick and see how the patch is coming along. Ah, pretty good. But unfortunately you here have to go. It's alright, be prepared for just such an occasion with this. There we are. You look quite robust. Very robust indeed. Let's just keep chipping away. Big hit. Very big hit. That was quite rude. It's alright. Still got some good fish stew to keep us safe. And some dumplings in it. You know me. Let's grab up a couple of these pumpkins so they can keep growing. Do the same to the melons. Wonderful. Now, let's get to work. First things first. We'll quickly light up and cover up some of these holes that lead underground. Looking a bit flatter. Now let's bring this wall up a little bit. That's most of the base shape done. We can come across. We can come along later and smooth it out so it's not just such a sheer surface. We just needed a good point of reference before we put this building on top. Thinking maybe the building itself can like run between here and there, like from this block straight across, perhaps maybe even this one straight across. Not really resting on this back dirt wall, but close enough to it. Yeah, I think that'll look nice. Oh, I also think I'm gonna go home, make another bed, and then bring it here so we can, sleep here when we're working. Probably a good habit to get into. I was just thinking, we haven't seen one of those massive whales in a hot minute. I'm sure they're still out there. But even when I went off earlier to get some wood from the mangrove, nothing. Well, at least we still have these very pretty fireflies. I'm feeling a little bit more quiet now. But like I often say, it's been a very cold day here. But I went out, got a nice mushroom pie from the local bakery. So now I've had something warm to eat. I've got the heater on, just sitting here, playing some Minecraft, just making me feel a little bit sleepy. So if I'm a bit more quiet, apologise. But then again, sometimes less is more. I'm just going to put one down so we can sort of see the dimensions we're working with here. To break this. Oh yeah, it's quite big. So I'm thinking probably across a bit. This sort of wooden beam that we're on right now is to represent like the outside of the building. So we'll put it across a bit. Yeah, just across. So that's telling us how, how wide the wheel is. Part of me does want to lower it down a bit, but I don't know if that'll. I don't know if that'll really make it look any better. Besides, we still have to connect everything up to a power generating building on the top. That bit up there, so it's probably best to have it relatively close. So I think it'll look nice with the wheel below the generator building on the other side. Yeah, I think that'll look alright. Besides, if I come up with a different idea, you don't really have to worry about it, because I'll probably snip it down so you don't see the 3 hours of me scratching my head. Changed my mind, I want it down a couple of blocks. So also realize we don't need this outside beam here, because obviously the water's going to be flowing into this basin we've just built. So we don't need to get to that side of the water wheel. Okay, maybe up one more block, and I think that'll be good down there. Go 4 wide. Let's put in the other wheel. Goodness. If only we had the perfect weapon. Lovely. It's really hard to see this treated wood stuff at night, so... There we go. There's the main, machine of this. Right. Now that we can see sort of where the main mortal wheels would be, we can build the rest of the structure around it. Just realised before we really you know, attach the water and get this thing spinning, we probably want to put the water in the base of this basin here so that we can sort of not have to worry about the water from the water wheel flowing in and messing up when we're trying to like smooth out the water here. So I'll get on top of that. I'd like to think I've learned a thing or two since making that canyon over there, so we'll see if this goes a bit smoother. Filling in this lake and well, that's just filling in this big basin of water reminds me of a game I used to play, Viva Pinata. If you haven't, I would highly recommend checking it out. It was basically just like a garden simulator. You know, make your garden, plant specific plants, you know, make the terrain how you'd like it, and you'd be able to attract different animals, in this case in the form of pinatas, to your garden. You'd have to get them to like eat something, or you have to have a specific building, and then they would like move in. It was a lot of fun to play as a kid. I think that's probably deep enough. So we'll turn our attention back towards this thing. Well, good thing we filled it with water. Actually, I do have an idea. Should have everything I need in the tool shed though. Actually going to need a bit of smooth stone as well. see how it looks with water flowing through it. Hopefully the water's flowing in the right direction. I've also added this here, sort of like an emergency shut-off valve, as it were. Go, all spinning the same way. Obviously we'll make it look a bit neater in a minute, but proof of concept is up. Why don't we see what we can cook up before bed? I reckon if I rummage around, I might be able to make some noodles. Got our cooked eggs. Just going to put on the kelp to dry out. In the meantime, we need to select, I think, what flavour we want for our noodles. I say what flavour. I'm pretty sure the only flavour we can have is pork. Look away for this bit. Or not. Seems a little inhospitable outside. I think it might be time to break out the emergency rations. There we go. Fighting strong. Look, everyone wants a piece. Alright. Cut up our pork. Have to do the same for our wheat. Obviously. What's your prepping area? There's that. There's our kelp. And that should be cooking along. Lovely. So that's cooking up. Put away some of this stuff we collected. Go. Some hearty noodle soup. Wonderful. So we get some more spruce wood. But keep messing about with that building on the other side. Well, I'm not too sure how I still want it to look yet, but sometimes the best way to figure out is to build whilst you're doing it. If I just sit here umming and ahhing, I'll probably never come up with an idea that I like. Don't know if I'm still not super happy with it. But I suppose for now it is, you know, functional. It probably just needs a little bit of love and care here and there. And I guess once that's set, I'll get about setting up this little, you know, power generator hut up here. That might have to be it for now. Or there'll be a little clock wipe effect and we'll pick up there next time. In either case, thanks for joining me.